All right, let's get right into it. Have you ever wanted to find just one thing, one single idea that you knew for sure was 100% true? I mean, something so rock solid you could build your entire understanding of the world on top of it. Well, that's exactly what the philosopher Rene Descartes set out to do. His big idea? To find that unshakable truth, he was going to try to doubt, well, literally everything. And that brings us to this really mind-bending question, the one that pretty much started a revolution in philosophy. Think about it. If you doubt everything, who's doing the doubting, right? If nothing is real, who is having that thought? That's the key. So hang on to that question, because we're about to follow Descartes right down the rabbit hole. So when we say Descartes was a skeptic, we're not talking about someone who's just a little bit cynical. No, this guy went all in. He started what you could call a project of radical doubt. His plan was basically to take a philosophical wrecking ball to everything he thought he knew, just to see if a single brick was left standing when the dust settled. And you can hear it right from the man himself. He said he felt it was necessary just once in his life to get rid of all his old opinions and start building again from the ground up. I mean, think about that. This isn't just, tidying up your beliefs. This is a full-on demolition job. He wants to wipe the slate completely clean and find a brand new foundation built only on pure, absolute certainty. So how does he even start something that big? Well, he comes up with what we now call the 3 waves of doubt. First wave, he says, look, my senses have tricked me before. A stick in water looks bent, a tower far away looks tiny, so maybe we can't trust our senses. Fair enough. Second wave, he thinks, how do I know I'm not dreaming right now? I mean, I've had dreams that felt completely real. There's no foolproof way to tell you're awake. Kind of spooky, right? And then comes the final blow, the big one. He imagines this all-powerful, super evil demon whose only job is to deceive him about absolutely everything, even something as simple as 2 + 3 = 5. And just like that, after that evil demon idea, what's left? Pretty much nothing. Poof! The sky, the earth, even your own body, it could all just be an elaborate trick. It's this feeling of total intellectual freefall. There's nothing to grab onto. Or is there? This is where it gets good, because out of the ashes of all that doubt, Descartes starts looking for what he called his Archimedean point. That one solid, unshakable spot in the universe that he could use as a lever to rebuild all of knowledge. So he goes right back to the most extreme case he could think of. He says, okay, let's just say the evil demon is real. Let's give him all the power. Let's assume he's feeding me a constant stream of lies about the world, my friends, my own hands. And then, boom, the breakthrough. He realizes, wait a minute, for a demon to be deceiving me, there has to be a me to deceive in the first place, right? You can't trick someone who doesn't exist. You can't show an illusion to nothing. The demon's power stops right there. And this is just that iconic aha moment. As he put it, if he's being deceived, then he must exist. The demon can trick him all he wants, but he can never make it so that he is nothing. As long as he's aware that he's something, the very act of doubting proves his own existence. Thinking, doubting, being deceived, it doesn't matter what it is, there has to be an I doing it. And that's it. That's the bedrock. I am, I exist. This becomes the very first principle of his entire new philosophy. You've probably heard the famous Latin version, Cogito Ergo sum, I think, therefore I am. This is the solid ground he was searching for. Okay, so that's huge, right? He's proven that he exists. But that just opens up a whole new can of worms. The next logical question is, okay, what am I? What is this I that I'm so sure about? So Descartes starts doing this process of elimination. He thinks, well, I used to think I was my body, my face, hands, arms, the whole package. But remember the evil demon. The demon could be faking all of that. So he can doubt his body exists, but he just proved he can't doubt that he exists. See the difference? And that leads him to this incredible conclusion. If I can imagine myself existing without a body, but I cannot imagine myself existing without thought, then my real essence, the thing that makes me, must be thought. Thinking is the one thing that is absolutely inseparable from who I am. And it's important to know that when Descartes says thinking, he doesn't just mean solving math problems. He has a really wide definition. It's doubting, understanding, affirming, denying, willing, refusing, even imagining and perceiving. It's the whole inner world of consciousness. So his final answer? At his core, he is a res cogitans, a thinking thing. Now, to really drive this point home, this idea that our minds are actually easier to know than the physical world, Descartes comes up with one of the most famous thought experiments in all of philosophy. He calls it the case of the wax. Okay, so he says, picture a piece of wax just taken from a honeycomb. How do you know what it is? Well, through your senses, right? You can smell the honey, maybe a bit of flower scent. You can see its color and its shape. You can feel that it's hard and cold. Tap it and it makes a sound. All the sensory data is coming in loud and clear. But then you bring it close to a fire, and suddenly everything's different. It's not hard and cold anymore. It's liquid and hot. The smell? Gone. The color? It's changed. The shape is completely gone. It's just a puddle. If you try to tap it, it's silent. Basically, every single thing your senses told you about the wax just a moment ago is now totally wrong. So here's the big question. If we only know things through our senses, and all of our senses are now screaming that this is a completely different object, how do we still know it's the same piece of wax? Think about it. Your eyes, your nose, your fingers, they are all telling you it's not the same. So what is? And here's the punchline of the whole experiment. The answer is, we don't know it with our senses. We know it with our mind. Our intellect, our understanding, grasps that underneath all those changing appearances, the waxiness of the wax, its essence as something that is flexible and changeable, is still there. It's a judgment of the mind, not a report from the senses. All right, let's connect the dots here. What does this whole wax thing have to do with I think, therefore I am? Well, they both point to the exact same, really radical conclusion. This is where Descartes makes this final, super clever pivot. He says, look, even if I'm wrong about the wax, even if the wax doesn't exist and it's all a trick from the demon, the very act of me judging that the wax exists proves that I exist. Every time I think I'm seeing the wax, what I'm actually doing is having a thought. And that thought is undeniable proof of my own mind. In other words, perceiving the wax proves my mind exists much more clearly than it proves the wax exists. And that is the big, kind of shocking takeaway from all this. We tend to think we know the physical world first, and then maybe we think about ourselves. Descartes completely flips that on its head. He says, nope, it's the other way around. The absolute most certain, most easily known thing in the entire universe isn't a star or a rock, it's your own mind. So when you boil it all down, what's the big takeaway? Descartes gives us this radical new way of looking at ourselves. He argues that your fundamental identity, it's not your body, not your face, not anything physical. All of that stuff can be doubted. The one thing that's absolutely certain, the very core of your being, is your mind. You are not what you see. You are what thinks.